guys, this is the second part to my video. This video is up and down. It's very long. I haven't even gotten to everything yet. But basically, let's just hop back into it. So, I guess going through this pregnancy too, like, some things that you need to keep in mind is like your due date and the different things that were going to happen during that time. And for example, like, I found I was pregnant in January 22nd or whatever, and I had my ultrasound, everything looked good, and then it came to gender time, and I'm like, oh my gosh, let's find out the gender, and go check out my other videos, because there's the gender stuff too. But the due date, my due date was April 2nd. No, it was April 1st. It was April Fool's Day. How ironic, actually, talking about that. How ironic. I had a miscarriage and my due date was April 1st. Ha, sucker. You actually don't have pregnancy. That's hard too. And what I did to actually, like, what saved me and probably saved Tyler. Tyler didn't even know because he was so wrapped up in this pregnancy. I put the gender reveal the next day after that. Because it was the first was a Friday and the second was a Saturday. And I had the gender reveal with all my friends on April 2nd. You know, and I put it there purposely. I said, you know what, this is a freaking given right. Like, I have the chance to have the gender reveal on a weekend that is horrible, and a reminder of something that I didn't get, but now get to have. It's a negative and a positive. I lost a baby, but I have a baby. And that's really important to remember, is that now I have a baby. And I get to find out its gender. Like, how amazing. Still hurtful, but still amazing. And that is probably one of the biggest things about this pregnancy, is that I actually am lucky because I have a baby that's healthy that I get to experience and totally just negate the first one and still understand that it was my first baby, but be able to still have a baby that's healthy and just know I have it. And that really helped me during that weekend. It didn't even dawn on me until the day of. I was like, oh my god. Thankfully, I was so wrapped up in the gender stuff that I didn't even think about it. And that I'm thankful for. The day of, I was like, I texted my friend and I was like, wow, today is the due date. Today is the due date, and I feel indifferent about it. I was shocked, to say the least. I was like, wow, I'm so lucky. Because you know what? This would break people for months and months and months and months. Like, if I wasn't pregnant, I don't know what it would have been like for me. It would have been horrific. I think it would have been so bad. And you know what? I didn't even tell Tyler until, like, recently, actually. I was like, hun, I just have to get this off my chest because I've been just holding this in for so long. I'm like, I know you were really taking things slowly with pregnancy, and I didn't want to bring this up, and I purposely put this on this date so that it wouldn't, like, we wouldn't be sitting there negatively and wallowing in something when we have such a precious thing right now. And it was just like, the due date was the day before our gender reveal, and he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. And I just shedded it. I just shedded that off my chest, basically. I just was like, you know, I have been holding this in for a while and I just didn't want to bring it up, but like now I'm going to. And I was just like, oh, finally I could just say it. Like, it just was like a ball of release. Really, it was like, it wasn't harboring in me too much, but it was like one of those things I'm like, holy crap, like I haven't been honest about this part because he doesn't know how I was feeling that day, because I didn't bring it up, because I didn't want to bring it up. Why would I want to bring that up when we have this beautiful thing right now happening? And so I didn't bring it up. And I'm sure he appreciates that. But if I hadn't had a pregnancy and that weekend came, I would have shut off probably for weeks, maybe even months. I would have just been like, wow, my life fucking sucks. Like, I don't even know. So like, anybody who's had to deal with miscarriage and go through the due date with no baby, no positive outline, silver lining, nothing like that, I commend you, because I don't know what I would have done. Honestly, I don't know what I would have done. And, you know, the one thing is too, like, even if you don't have a baby, just know that it's going to happen to you. It's going to happen for you. It happened for me, so it's going to happen for you. Trust me. Just keep waiting. Just do it as long as you can. Just know that even if you can't and you have infertility issues, adoption is amazing. I was adopted. I know the feeling. You know, I know that, like, it's not the same as having and carrying your own baby. But you know what? If you want the pregnancy experience, be a surrogate, you know, or whatever the rules are in your country about surrogacy. I know in Canada you can't do it unless you've had a kid before, but, you know, there's other ways you can do it, and adoption is amazing, fostering a kid is amazing. You know, there's so many other ways to have a kid. So if you can't have a kid, just know there's other options for you, and they're just as good. Trust me, you're loving something for the rest of your life. That is all that matters, okay? But if you just had a miscarriage, I'm so sorry. I'm with you on this. I understand. And getting pregnant again, that's a whole new chapter, because you are fearful the whole time you're pregnant. I'm still fearful. And I'm 29 weeks. You know, so you're not alone. You're really not alone. And so getting past the due date was amazing, that I could get through it. Honestly, the greatest thing. I could get through it. I just want to say that, again, I'm so grateful that I have a baby. It's healthy. And getting through that process was very, very hard. But I was very, very lucky that I scheduled something very, very positive, very exciting. Around that day, I was obviously so wrapped up in the planning that it didn't even dawn on me until the day of. And I was like, wow, I'm so grateful I got through that day without depression and anxiety, and I was just very lucky. Very, very lucky. I just want to, so after the due date, I have been extremely excited for the baby. I have the nursery done. I had my 20-week update, an ultrasound, and it came back so well. He looked so good. Go check out that video. I explain it, and it was a huge relief, that ultrasound. I then took my gestational diabetes test. I did my genetic testing tests, all negative. Every single step to this point My viability weeks, the first one and the second one, have been just a weight lifted off my mental health, a weight lifted off of thinking something bad is gonna happen. I still have those feelings. I still think something bad can happen. Anything can happen. Anything can happen during birth, anytime. You know, the fear is always going to be there. But the trick is positivity and thinking that, you know, something great is happening. Whether the outcome is good or bad, you just have to stay positive. And it's not easy. It's really not easy. I know it's not easy. I'm here with you. I agree with you. The fear is going to be with you for the rest of your life. Because I know you're not just going to have one kid. And if you do, great. I'm glad you got through the first process. You were able to have a baby. And you get to love that thing for life. But just know that, you know, that fear is going to be with you for the rest of your life, and there are ways to cope with it. Hey, maybe you'll forget. I hope that. But mental health is extremely important for your quality of life and for anything you do in your life from day to day to hour, for the people you love around you, how you treat people, how you treat yourself. It's extremely important to have a good mental health. And going through trauma like that, going through a miscarriage, going through a loss, going through any sort of loss, whether that's a stillbirth, whether that is, you know, you lose your child, like, you have to have a stable and good sense of mental health to get through those things. And it's extremely important to research it, extremely important to understand how hormones react in your body, how important it is to have a partner that's supportive, but also you're supportive and understand their side. You just have to understand different perspectives. And that will get you through it. That will get you through anything. Truly, point of view is key. I have fears about birth. I'm scared to death about stillbirth. I'm scared something bad's gonna happen in between then. Of course, everyone's going to be like that, but because you've had a miscarriage or a loss, it's greater. It's just greater. And there's really nothing you can do about it, except remember that there's a different perspective. Having support is so key. If you're doing it alone, I commend you, but you need somebody. Whether you want it or not, having support, just having support there is so important. It really makes a difference, and I highly suggest it. Let me take a walk. But yeah, it is never easy to go through pregnancy, and especially alone, especially after miscarriage or loss. It is very, very hard. Your emotions are running high and low, but you can get through it. You really can. You really can. I really hope this video is helpful. I hope this video resonates within you. I hope this video is something to relate to. I hope that, you know, you can find positivity in the negativity, and that, you know, you find yourself and find the strength that you have in yourself, because that is also important, because you are very strong. You're a very strong woman. for going through it. You're a strong woman for overcoming it. And you're a strong woman to continue it. And the same goes for your partner, whether that's a female or a male. Literally be kind to yourself, because you have made it through. You made it through something very few can. And, I could get into statistics. I don't want to get into statistics. I think the whole basis that, every single doctor told me a different statistic number. They're like, miscarriages, happen 20% of the time. Miscarriages happen 40% of the time. Miscarriages happen 30%. Miscarriages happen 60%. You know what those statistics don't say? What it's like, how it feels for individuals. Also, those statistics are skewed. Doctors keep on telling me, some people didn't even know they were pregnant and they just had a miscarriage. I'm like, that's cool. And they didn't even feel it. They just thought they just had a period. And I'm like, that's cool. That's not what I went through. Definitely wasn't just a period. I had the attachment. I had a baby. I had something in me that I was growing, that it didn't live. You cannot tell me or compare it to another person who didn't know they were pregnant and then just had a period like symptoms. Don't ever tell me that. That is not the same. That is not the same as going through what I went through. Congratulations to those people who didn't know they were pregnant and didn't have an attachment and didn't have what I went through. Because you know what? All the women that have gone through like me, we are stronger because of it, but damn, we were fucked because of it. And we will be for the rest of our lives, because we are a statistic, but we're a different kind of statistic. I could go on for hours about that. Don't ever tell me that mine's the same. I don't care whether it's 60% or 50% or 40% or 10% or 2%. It still happens to you. It is still something you go through. And everyone goes through it differently. But that doesn't mean yours isn't bad. Whether that's emotionally or physically or both. It is hard to go through. If it's common, it's common. You know what's common too? Cancer is common. Does it make it any easier? No, it doesn't. And I can tell you right now, half the population doesn't have cancer. So if half the population is losing babies, tell me which one's harder. Yes, losing your life, but also losing another life. You really can't compare the two, right? You can't. You really can't. So, I would just say, if you are listening to doctors and you're having a different perspective than them, and you're saying, this is easy, it's not easy. Maybe it is easy for you, but it's not easy. It's not easy. And I validate that. I validate people who don't have it easy. Like I said, you just have period-like symptoms, you just have a heavier flow. Congratulations, Lucky for you. Lucky for you to not even know you're pregnant and that you just had a heavier period. Lucky. I say lucky. Okay? Maybe people disagree with that. But I say lucky. Because of what I went through. Things like this are so controversial. You have sterile doctors telling you that this just happens. That's cool. Things just happen all the time. Doesn't make it any easier. That is literally you not validating how I feel, how I think, how I'm treated and being treated on this matter. It took me a really long time to get care. Everyone didn't care about me. They just thought, oh, it's just another miscarriage. It's not just another miscarriage. It's a fucking human being, okay? It's a human being. No longer here. I just want women to know that it doesn't matter what the doctors are saying unless it's helpful and healthcare advice. Because what they are saying has no bearing on what you feel. None. So push for your care. If you feel something's wrong with you, push for it. Push for it, push for it, push for it. Because this is your life. Your life. Not theirs. Yours. And I know it's very serious, but it's true. You know, women die all the time from product being left inside them. Or, you know, from miscarriages, they hemorrhage. Like there's so much to it, and you need to be vigilant in that. You need to understand that it's not easy, and that just because it's common doesn't mean something bad can't happen to you. So you have to be good on yourself, be kind to yourself, take care of yourself, and push for yourself. But like on that basis, I just want women to know that like just because it's common, like I said, it does not mean it's any easier to go through. It doesn't make your experience like everybody else's. And sure as hell is not something you should do alone. You really, really need the support. Whether you think you do or you don't. It's so traumatic. Whether it's emotionally or physically. Whether it's high or low. And I hope this video can kind of shed the light on that. And I hope this video is good enough for people to understand, to relate to connect with. Like I said, like, this is just my story. This is how I feel about the matter. And mental health is super important. I'm a mental health advocate and in school for psychology and understand how important it is. And a lot of people aren't educated in it. And they're just like, oh, I need to be tough. I need to be tough. No. Being tough means you're not validating yourself. Being tough means you're brushing it off. Being tough means you may not process it at all. Which means it's going to come back later. Being tough is amazing, but it's a defense mechanism. And sometimes those defense mechanisms, they faulty. And they send you down a real bad spiral. Whether that's now, 10 years from now. Because you never processed it. You didn't emotionally think about it. You didn't take it in. And you know what? The more emotions you have, the more human you are, the more you're able to get through those things. And you know, thus far I've been scared, but I've also been really happy. You know, I've been taking the steps to keep positive and understand that, you know, what will be. And to prepare myself, but to live my life. You have to live your life. Or else, what are you doing? You know, people get caught up. They're like, oh, I need to work all this time so I can get all this money so then I can go and do things. Do they do those things? No. They're still working. You know, to an eventual end that may never happen because you're working. You know, you need to take it in. You need to understand that things pass you by and you might do this working for 10 to 15, 20 years. And then, whoa, where's my life? I never lived it. Same thing goes with trauma. Whoa, I never thought about this. Whoa, this is how I'm feeling now about it? Oh, how do I feel about it now? What does this mean for me? You really need to live in the moment. And if you're living in the moment so much, and it's messing with you, then dial it back. Think, you know what? I need to step back, look at the bigger picture here. There's a balance. The balance is hard to find. Really, really hard to find. And so few people can do it. I went through a horrible mental state. Horrible, horrible spiral for a year and a half. Maybe even 2. Maybe even 2. And you know what? I am super into mental health. And the fact that I had that happen to me was a huge thing to accept. You know, I had like a drinking problem, and thankfully I got out of it, but you know, it affected me. It affected me emotionally, mentally, physically. It did a lot of things. It definitely impacted my relationships with people, my relationship with myself, most importantly, relationship with myself. So, you know, mental health is a huge impact. And you know what? When I had my miscarriage, I didn't even think about taking a drink. It was the last thing on my mind. The last thing on my mind was take a drink, which is incredible. And I don't have an addictive personality, but when I was going through my mental health issues, alcohol was such an easy thing to use because it was something that could numb you from your emotions, from thinking about it. I suffered with bad anxiety, so alcohol was easy for me. It's easy to stop the thinking, to stop the OCD, to, you know, stop the what ifs. But there comes to a point where you're doing it all the time and it's not good for you. It's not good for your relationships because how you're reacting to certain things because you're under the influence of something that's changing your mind, changing your mental state. You know, I was so shocked I didn't pull for a drink. I didn't ask for a drink. I drank twice in 6 months. I had some on Halloween, had some on Christmas, and I guess I drank on New Year's too. So I had 3 times I drank. Actually, I don't even think I drank on Halloween. I don't even think I drank on Halloween because I was going through my miscarriage, so I couldn't have. So, you know, I drank twice, and actually longer than that. It was like 8 months or something like that. You know, and those were special occasions. And it's not because I was like an extreme alcoholic beforehand. It's just, it was easier to grab, easier to use, easier to stay away from time. And I can tell you right now, don't do that during your miscarriage. Don't do that at any time. It's not good for you. It's not who you are. It shouldn't be who you are. You know, people talk about AA and they're like, oh, drinking is not who you are. It doesn't define you. And they're true. They're right. It doesn't define you. But your actions do define you. The alcohol doesn't define you, but your actions do. Okay? So, go towards something positive. Go for walks. Read a book. If you have an urge to do something, to numb it out, go ask a friend to hang out. Go play some board games. Do not reach for the drinks. Do not reach for drugs. It will not solve your problem. It will just make it worse. It will literally make it worse. And this goes hand in hand with miscarriage and trauma. Like, it's so easy to want to forget. But you know what? You're not forgetting. You're delaying the process of it. You're delaying talking about it. You're delaying your sense of being. You're delaying your future. You gotta live in the present, but you can't depend on something else in order for you to get through it, because it's not doing anything. All it is doing is reinforcing an action that is not good for you, a bad behavior and habit that will bleed into the rest of your life. So what if you have a miscarriage and you're like, oh, I just want a glass of wine? that's fine. But when 1 glass of wine comes every day, then 2 glasses every day, then 3, you gotta stop and think, why am I drinking? Right, I'm drinking, or I'm taking this substance, even weed, anything, to numb the mind. You gotta remember that that's just delaying the inevitable. It took me a really long time, and I actually even knew that. I knew that. I'm learning psychology. I knew that, and I still went for it. Not during my miscarriage, before that. But I had to go through that to understand that, you know. And then I had my miscarriage, and I said every day, I'm like, thank God I'm not reaching for a drink. I didn't even think about drinking. Because, you know, I was dealing with it in the moment. I was dealing with my emotions in the moment, and you need to do that. Grieving is so different for everybody. You process it fast, you process it never. Process it a little bit. Process it for 6 months, 8 months, 20, 60 months. You never know how you're going to be. And you know what? You never know how you're going to be when you get pregnant. Your first pregnancy after a loss. You have no idea. You have no idea. And having a support system, extremely important. Understanding your emotions, processing your emotions, and getting help when you need help, super important. I cannot stress enough how important that is. And I think this is why this video is extremely important. I know I've had to make it into 2 parts, but it's extremely important for a reason, because you have no idea how you're going to react to things. And even if you do have a great sense, you may be the complete opposite, you know? So that's what I would like to take from this video, is help people relate, connect, and understand the processes of things, and, you know, how life really turns on a wheel. It turns on a dime, turns on a wheel, turns on a spindle. You never know how it's going to go, and you really got to keep the balance, and balance is hard. Balance is so hard when it comes to mental health and anything in life. You may not even be drinking or doing drugs. You might be doing work as an escape. Sure, you're making money, but you're delaying the inevitable still. Okay? There's a balance. You want to go for a walk? Go for a walk. You're still emotionally processing as you walk. It's an amazing thing that walking does. Walking triggers the memory hormone in your brain. And it tells you, it makes you automatically think about memories. You listen to music in memories. Anything that requires an activity for your body, working out, going on a hike or kayaking, those things are what stimulate the brain and trigger memories, but also trigger a processing part of your brain, which makes you deal with your emotions, deal with how situations have treated and made you feel. And it gives you a sense of, oh, this is my space, my time to think about it, my time to understand things, my time to work on myself. You really, really gotta remember that. Not working. Working is not for you. Constant work, keeping busy, is not working on yourself. It's actually doing the opposite. Okay? It's taking you into a new space, making you forget about everything. That's not the goal. The goal is for you to stay present, to process your emotions. And that's what's key with good mental health, is understanding your emotions, how they affect you, what they do to you, how they make you feel, how they make you behave, how you act going forward. That is what's really key. Okay? And if you can't process it right now, that's okay. But you have to make a time for it. So let's say, today I don't feel like it. Today is too much. Too much going on in my life. too much activities, too much stimulation, too much people coming in my life, too many things I'm doing, too many things I have to get done, house chores, stuff like that. I can tell you right now, you need to set a time to process your emotions, whether that's taking a bath, whether that's going on a walk, whether that's doing anything that has to do with, setting time for yourself. Reading a book triggers memory and processing emotions because you're reading something. When you read something, you relate to something. And when you relate to something, you're processing something. Okay? So those things are very healthy for you. But going to work, delaying the inevitable, it's not going to work. It's just going to make it worse. And, sometimes people need time, but it's often the time that makes it worse for them. The faster you can get through something, the faster to something new, to something more exciting, to something that's going to liven you up, something that's going to, change how you feel, how you act, how you react, how you live your life. Sometimes it takes a long time to understand that. But you know what? You can do it. And this video is very, very long, and I could probably send out way more empowerment. But those are really key things in understanding during miscarriage and after loss, and dealing with any kind of trauma, but also dealing with pregnancy. Because even pregnancy, people are extremely scared already, even without a miscarriage. So just remember that. Processing is key, emotions is really key, good mental health is really key, good activity, good diet, all those types of things. So I hope this video was very relatable. Connection was there for you, and you could take away any strong points. This is a different type of video. I've always wanted to do these videos. I just haven't sat down and done it yet. But I'm glad I did. I can't believe how long these are. It's insane. This might even be 3 parts. I don't even know. But yeah, it's definitely important, and I think that anyone could relate to this video, and that anyone could take something from this video. And so I really appreciate you watching. I know they're long, but they're very important, and I hope you see the importance in it. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. My next video is awesome. It's my baby shower, so it's like just me talking about the baby shower and like some clips of the baby shower. I didn't get a lot of content, but I got enough content, and yeah, just enough to talk about it. So that'll be my next video, and then a haul, the baby haul, some things I got from the shower, as well as like I've already collected, and then it will be the nursery tour, woo, which you already kind of see it's happening. But yeah, so I'll see you guys in my next video.